Hello everyone, it's me Evan and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be covering basically the JFM 8.5, and by 0.5 I basically just mean that it's the Gladiator but upgraded. So this is the original Gladiator here, the JFM-8 Gladiator. It's based on the MiG-21 and I think it looks pretty spick and span. We've got all moving tail pieces, a hybrid drive system that uses both thrusters and propellers for better fuel efficiency. You can see here in the cockpit we've got some stuff. It looks okay in the cockpit. Both of them have lights, those little nav lights that blink on and off. And this one's got a single light in the cockpit here. You can see that. All around, it's a very good plane, and it's just, it's been a real workhorse when it comes to my multiplayer experience, really. Now this one here is markedly better. Now these are the cookie cutter missiles that I showed off in my last video, and they make this plane exceptional, like in a ground attack role, just because you can basically fly in a straight line, and these missiles will do well. They'll put in work. Let's just keep it at that. I mean, these things are devastating against ground targets. But you can, of course, if you want to, detach them for a lower part count, because when these things actually are on, it goes past 1,000 bricks, which is not ideal. So, what are the major changes between these two aircraft that makes this the upgraded variant? And you can see a few of them right here. So we can see right here we've got this, which is actually a thermal. That's my own design, so it's kind of crappy compared to some of the thermals you might find on the workshop, but it works. It works well enough. And then we've got up here is a radar. It gyrates violently. Yeah. So basically that radar is where the target camera used to be. So if you look, you can see we are in the nose of the aircraft right there in that cone. But because I put in a radar, it doesn't really have room for that now. The guns are improved, and by improved I mean I just put an extra barrel on them, so better velocity, which means greater hit probability. And then if we look here at the tail section, just go to maximum pitch up for both of these guys, and I'll show you one of the things I changed. So you can see this is like a pretty severe angle, but over here, well, it's really severe. It's like 40, or no, I think it's 30 degrees at the moment is what it's set to. That could be subject to change in the future, but this makes the turning radius a lot better than it used to be. But it does look a bit weird. It used to actually be higher, but it kept on causing stability issues where the plane would start rolling pretty violently when you would use your maximum pitch. So that was kind of a no-no. But if we hop in here, oh, those are still. You can see here is this bar. That's our radar actually. So when one of those little sensors detects something in front of it, I think it's got a range of about like 4 kilometers, it will send that information to one of these lights. So it'll only show you in a vertical slice where something is, and it's pretty unreliable even at relatively close range. So it's mostly just there because it's cool, and it isn't really too big of a parts increase. You'll also notice the change here between this canopy and this canopy. There's this big rounded bar right in the middle of this one, and on this one there is not. It looks better from the, it looks cool to have that bar there, but it restricts vision quite a lot in a way that I just was not willing to compromise. So the actual in-flight cockpit view is a lot better with this. Also, there's not as much confusing stuff. There's just two buttons, and you got your, your stick and your radar. Whereas with this one, I put a whole bunch of greebling in here because I felt bad about just having a blank plate of armor in front of you. But yeah, let's just take off and kind of show off the abilities, I guess. In terms of like overall capability, the difference between the two is not massive because you're still working with the same base platform, but these little tiny upgrades really do make this plane a lot more pleasant to use, especially the increased pitch and the extra gun barrel, because that means you can actually you don't always lose every turn fight you enter. You know, like this is a pretty good turn rate, and especially at lower speeds. At higher speeds, it doesn't do quite as well. It kind of locks up a bit, but you know, in actual turn fights, it is not quite so outclassed anymore, which is nice. And then also, you don't have to lead your targets nearly as much with that second barrel, which also makes it better for dogfighting. So basically, this thing has just been better optimized for dogfighting, because that's what I found myself doing a lot more of. Then, you know, because like boom and zooming, like, okay, that's the safest way to do things, right? Especially with the speed of this jet. However, it's really boring. Like, unless you're doing, unless you're attacking ground targets, boom and zooming on enemy planes is very, very boring. So, I just sort of, to make this plane not only more viable generally, but also just fun to play, I decided that dogfighting ability was something I should prioritize. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. Ooh. You want to be careful though, because when you have flaps out, and then you start using your maximum pitch, that roll control problem that I was talking about earlier still comes up sometimes. If you've got your flaps up, usually there's not too much of a problem. I think part of the problem has to do with the fact that the tail plane is so big that it actually, when you're going, it specifically happens more often when you're pulling maximum pitch in like side slip. But yeah, I'll eventually work out a lot of the other problems in my future designs. But for now, this is a really great upgrade package, and I am very happy to put this out on the workshop, along with these beautiful cookie cutter missiles, which if you did not see in the last video, I will give a small demonstration here. They've got no flaps, so launching them basically means I don't have to worry about them, you know, having problems. They don't have any proximity fuses, which makes them not ideal for air-to-air combat, but they're very effective for air-to-ground combat. So yeah, overall, great upgrade package. These missiles, you can basically just rip them off and put them on stuff. I wouldn't really mind, because the more cool missiles we have in this game, the better, in my opinion. So that'll be all, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. See you later.